All right, welcome to 5-4, order of operations. Today we'll be able to determine the absolute value of expressions and describe the differences. Oh, that's why it says absolute value there. This is all wrong. I was like, we already did absolute value. Okay, there's no vocabulary, but today we'll be able to, this is wrong, so cross this out. Okay, we'll be able to evaluate expressions is what we're going to just leave it as because I don't want you to write all that much. Okay, cool. So we don't have any vocabulary because we've done a lot of this. Okay, so we have germ das. That's how we remember what to do. So G stands for grouping symbols. So grouping symbols can be parentheses, they can be brackets, they can be absolute value signs, or they can be this really long dividing sign. Okay, then we have E to R, exponents and roots. Or did I say radicals before? I think I said radicals. We haven't done radicals yet, but we're now going to do exponents. And then we have multiplying and dividing, left to right, so whichever one comes first, left to right. And then we have add and subtract, left to right. Okay, so our first problem here, we have evaluate the expression. So first step is G, which stands for grouping symbols, which we have none. ER stands for exponents and radicals, left to right. There are none of those. Then we have multiplying and dividing, left to right. So I have this multiplying first. We are going to do the 6 times 5. So I'm going to just rewrite this real quick. 6 times 5 plus 3. So 6 times 5 is 30. If you need to use a multiplication chart, that's okay. So 30 plus 3, then we have just that adding left. So 30 plus 3 is 33. Okay, number 2, we're going to evaluate this in our next one here. I realized I did something wrong. We're going to change this so it says plus. We don't want that as a minus because otherwise it would make something negative that we don't want yet. So there are still no grouping symbols. So our x1 is 2 to the third. So I rewrote this as 3 plus 6 divided by 2 plus 2 to the third. 2 to the third means 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So now when I rewrite this, I have 3 plus 6 divided by 2 plus 8. Now I'm multiplying divide left to right. The only one we have here is dividing. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. So I'm going to rewrite this as 3 plus 3 plus 8. So now we just add and subtract left to right. So I'd start off with a 3 plus 3, which is 6, and then plus 8, which is 14. Okay, last example. This one now we have absolute value signs. So in the G we have to do the absolute value of negative 2 plus 3 squared. So in there we still have to follow our order of operations. We're going to start off with the 3 squared. So I have 4 times 8 minus the absolute value of negative 2 plus 3 squared. So remember 3 squared means 3 times 3. Okay, and we do that first because it's actually multiplying. Okay, so you have 4 times 8 minus the absolute value of negative 2 plus 3 times 3 is 9. So I'm still trying to figure out what that absolute value is. So I have 4 times 8 minus, now when I add negative 2 and 9, I have a negative and a positive, so I actually subtract. 9 minus 2 is 7. I have more positives, so positive 7. Now absolute value always stays positive, absolute value is distance from 0, so 7 is 7 spots away from 0. So we're going to say 4 times 8 minus 7. So now I got rid of my grouping symbols. So now there are no exponents and roots. There is multiplying, so I am going to do 4 times 8. So you can use that multiplication chart if you need to. 4 times 8 is 32, so I get 32 minus 7. So last thing is subtracting 32 minus 7, which if you need to rewrite it over here as 32 minus 7, this will become 2. 12 minus 7 is 5, so you get 25. I went a little out of my space, but that's okay. All right, back page. All right, this one I left blank apparently. I don't really know what I was doing on this guy. Okay, so we're going to evaluate the expression 6 plus the quantity of negative 7 minus 3 times 12. We're going to change that again, subtracting to adding, because it's not supposed to be subtracting yet. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is the grouping symbol, so the parentheses. Okay, so I have 6 plus negative 7 plus 3 times 12. So I'm going to multiply the 3 and the 12 first, because in the parentheses I have adding and multiplying comes first. So I have 6 plus parenthesis, negative 7 plus 3 times 12. You can use your multiplication chart. It's 36. So now I need to add those together. So since I have a positive and a negative, I have to subtract. So if I need to rewrite it, I can as vertical. So this would be 2, so 16 minus 7 is 9, so I get 29. 9 more positives. So the last thing to do is to add. So 6 plus 29 is 35. All right, number 5. Okay, first thing we're going to do is substitute. Substitute kind of means like to switch out, replace. Okay, so we're going to take this x is 6, and this y is 3. So anytime I see an x, I'm going to put in a 6, and anytime I see a y, I'm going to put in a 3. So I have 2/3 plus my x is 6 divided by y, which is 3, minus parenthesis x, which is 6, times 4, divided by 12, parenthesis times y, which is 3. So first thing I'm going to do is start with my parentheses. So my parentheses I have multiplying and dividing. I'm going to multiply and divide left to right. So I start with 6 times 4, which is 24. So in these parentheses I still have 24 divided by 12. So I'm not going to rewrite the whole thing. I'm just going to do those parentheses. So 24 divided by 12 is 2. So now I'm going to rewrite everything. So I have 2/3 plus 6 divided by 3 minus 2 times 3. So now we're going to multiply and divide left to right. So that actually means we're going to do 6 divided by 3 first, because that comes first when I go left to right. 6 divided by 3. So I have 2/3 plus 6 divided by 3 would be 2 minus, and then I can actually do this at the same time. 2 times 3 is 6. So now I'm going to add and subtract left to right, but we need common denominators. Okay, since there's no decimals here, it's just a fraction and whole numbers. We want a fraction answer. So I'm going to put 2/1, and then 6/1. And I need to get 3, so I'm going to multiply top and bottom here by 3, and multiply top and bottom by 3. So I get 2/3 plus 2 times 3 is 6 over 1 times 3 is 3, minus 6 times 3 is 18, 1 times 3 is 3. So I start with 2/3 plus 6/3, and that's going to be 8/3 minus 18/3. So I'm going to change that subtracting to adding the opposite, so negative. So with a positive and negative, I subtract. 18 minus 8 is 10 over 3. Keep the denominator and have more negative, so negative 10/3. And then write it as a mixed number. So 10 divided by 3. 3 goes into 10 3 times. Subtract 9. That would be 1. So it's going to be negative 3 1/3 is my final answer. Okay, so always start with grouping symbols. If there is more than one operation inside the grouping symbols, go through GermDOS. to help remember what to do first. Then we will do exponents and radicals. Left to right, then multiplying and dividing left to right, which means if dividing comes first, you divide first. Finally, add and subtract left to right. All right, and that is it.